Yep. Welcome back, Holy.
Yeah,
How's your weekend going?
pretty good. Just hanging out with the guys, doing some Kata dungeons, getting ready for
I
mob.
saw that. I was watching you and Iggy play Kata. I've logged into Kata, but I'm really just waiting on the boost because I don't really want to level, but I do want to play, have some fun.
Yeah, same.
It's
I
like,
got a shaman ready, and now I kind of want something else to do, and I'm just like, I'm not buying another boost. I have a free one coming. I just need to be patient.
yeah. It's like a nice change of pace. Speaking of which, the whole reason most people are playing Kata, we're at Endgame. Endgame of SOD. We're deep into Endgame. Kind of like the overall arching theme here is the boss is dead. You got the loot. You're logging in. But why does it feel like a chore? We want to break down Burnout and WoW. Even when the content's good and how players rebuild, quit, or pretend they're just, still having fun and or just like rinsing and repeating. Overall, Burnout's a thing in WoW, man. And being in a guild being in a guild as long as I've been in a guild and also running a guild, it's there's a lot to it. But I mean, for me, WoW is become very much a chore. It's not that I don't enjoy the chore, it is a chore. And sometimes I ask myself, like, why do I still play? Or like, why am I even still doing this? I could be doing something better with my time. 100%. That's another reason, like, I have this podcast. It's like a nice creative outlet to do something that is a part of the game, but it's not. It's something for me, Like, I'm not just paying $15 a month, or in some cases, like $60 a month because I have multiple accounts to just give my many hours of my life to a game that in reality serves no purpose. Although we enjoy it,
Yeah, no, I totally get what you're feeling, especially when you're in the environment that, we play in when it's competitive. There really are no pauses, there's no breaks. Like every week, it's like a nonstop pursuit of attacking the leaderboard or, showing up and performing so that you don't slide off. You really need to bring 100% of yourself every week. And then the rest of the game in between raid days, there's not always a ton to do. We're at endgame. A lot of our reputations are pretty much finished. There's not as much need to really dungeoner anymore. And eventually, from like a gearing standpoint, which is kind of, one of the big focuses of the game is, this constant pursuit of improving your character. The areas and opportunities where you can actually acquire power for your character, they're all locked behind that raid you only do 1 day a week. So, other than farming some gold or consumes whatever you have to do to be ready for the next raid lockout. I mean, that's it. That's the whole game. So, probably the best way that I know of avoiding burnout is to don't feel like you need to be playing the game every single day of the week. That's not your raid day. Find those times to do more in your real life to enrich your own personal life so that you don't feel the effects of burnout, from playing a video game.
I think it's like a fundamental problem with WoW, which is not necessarily its problem. It's more like my problem. So I play a lot of WoW, obviously. I'm quite dedicated to it for many reasons. Technically, what I tell a lot of people, especially some of our guild, is like, I hate WoW. I really don't like WoW. I only really play for our people. Another reason, like personally for me, like in Raid, I don't really give a shit about loot. I never really have. I never have a problem like getting things last. And like I just recently bissed out my character.
You're a rare breed, man.
I'm the one GM that doesn't get shit first. And like I don't put myself at the front of the door. Like even like on my priest, like I got ATS like 4th or something. Although we pumped him out really quickly, still 4th is whatever. Like most people would just take it up front. And I've always just kind of played for our team. Like somebody has to organize this shit, right? Somebody has to be the spearhead. And I do benefit from it. I'm not saying I don't benefit because I can log in and get shit done and have a whole team rally behind me to do it all the time. And I'll tell you a story about like getting ganked. It was like phase, I want to say 2, and it was like some in-depth rune questing. And I'm a guy with multiple accounts. I have like a summoner, clickers, And it's not that I multi-boxed in the past because it was fun, but I wasn't one of the ganker guys that just camp people. I wasn't a griefer. I did it for fun, but I always kind of kept the accounts and I used them as like utility. It's like for the guild, like we have a summoning team here and there, yada, yada, yada. It's really, really helpful to set that up and make it convenient for like 40 some odd people for a raid. But, the whole point of this this point is I have access to a lot of players at all times. Like I was doing something with my paladin, getting a rune, and as soon as somebody killed me, I had a summon team waiting at the flight path every time. They would follow me around. And as soon as somebody ganked me or somebody would like stop me from doing my rune stuff, because this is when like it was a big push. I forget exactly what it was, but it was a big push to get some stuff done you had to do. And it had to go to some random island somewhere in the middle of, I don't know what zone it was, they were camping me. I was like, screw this. I put a call out to Discord and like I summoned like 10 people and we all just go obliterate these players. And this happened on several occasions. I was trying to get shit done during this like leveling phase and people would like kill me. So there's a lot of benefits to having a team like this that like I said, it's not that I dislike WoW. It's just I think I'm playing it for different reasons than most people. Like, I'm not here to BIS my character. Although like technically my paladin's BIS now. It's not really my thing. My thing is really like the long-term community that we can like keep going, and I feel responsible for it.
No, for sure. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, like, there's no point in being a GM if you can't like find some sort of reward, whether that is like intrinsic or extrinsically, kind of a reward structure that you got going on there. But GM is a thankless position, so you have to find the fun and enjoyment in it, otherwise it will slowly destroy you. So I'm glad that you're able to find a sense of meaning in it.
But that brings me to another point. It's like we're talking about burnout and whatnot, but what's the like fundamental difference between like raid burnout and WoW burnout? We had some
big distinction between those two things.
We had some serious like raid burnout during Sunken Temple. Just a lot of teams died because it lasted too long. There was some raid burnout for us in BWL. AQ, funny enough, no problems. We kind of like chugged along in AQ without much issue. Nax was really good for us. And I wouldn't even say that Scarlet Enclave has a lot of raid burnout. There is some, obviously it's the last one, but it's more like people are just quitting. They're done. They beat the game, right?
I think at this point in Scarlet Enclave that we've just been so burnt out. We've become the enlightened WoW burnouts at this point. Like, we're having this tantric experience with burnout. Like all this, pain has become pleasure at this point. We could have walked away at so many different points along this journey and just, we're still here. And I think the biggest reason for it, and I know that you and I have both spoke about this personally. Me and you have been different levels of done playing this game, but what brings us back every week is our team. Because at least for me, like in my personal life, I don't have a whole lot of friends, like I work and I have my family and that takes up the majority of my time. I don't really have a lot of personal friends because, I don't live where I grew up anymore. So I don't know a ton of people. And this community that, we've built in our teams and our teammates, like that's my friend group. That's my social group. And that's what keeps me bringing me back every week is, I want to show up. And I want to make sure that these raids are successful and do my part so that we can all keep going as a team and achieve our goals together. And, I don't want to let my friends down. So,
yeah. And it's taken me a while, but like, I've learned to plan for the future, and like give people something to look forward to. Cause I mean, like running a guild is like running a company, like we're the leaders, but we're really just HR and like the party planning committee, and Like it's like we're already doing mop and TBC prep, and people are clearly excited about it. It keeps our Discord bustling, keeps people chatting, and like that's something that I monitor personally is that our Discord is actually being utilized. And that's kind of like brings me to like kind of one of our like timeline points here for the whole episode is like the different phases of burnout, not phases of the game, but phases of like people and emotions and personalities for the game. So like the launch hype, everybody's online, Discord is super super busy, and loot is fun. Everything is fresh, and we're in a special position where like we do have a busy Discord, and we do have a team that was like grounded from day one. Like you weren't here day one, but when we started SOD, we had 45 players, right? We straight up had like 45 people leveling, and we were prepping for BFD, and it was all hands on deck. Everybody was like getting ready. It was an exciting time, you know. It's like one of the best phases to be in the game, right? Everybody's playing, and that's where we also did a lot of our recruiting. We met a lot of people very quickly because you're in the open world, you're leveling, you're doing your thing. And how was your launch? Because I didn't know you back then. How was your experience with there? Did you start by yourself?
Yeah, I started with a buddy of mine, Kyle, that I knew from the Marines. His like friend group from growing up as a kid, when he lived back in Pittsburgh, it was like him and like about 8 of his friends or so, and then me. And what was it, 10 mans back then?
10 mans.
Yeah, like between like him and his friend group and myself, like we had a full team, and we did phase 1 all together, and we had a blast. And then we went into phase 2, and well, it all kind of fell apart. They just No Morgana was a bit harder, and well, turns out that they were all kind of ready for something new. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I didn't take any breaks. I played the entire time through. I was in multiple guilds along the way. But I finally made my way over to Reported, now Indigo, when the real game started. I was there, week 2 for Molten Core.
Yeah, you joined.
So,
yeah, that's right.
I
You
was right there
joined
when the
our
real
team.
game.
Yeah, you were on our Blastoise team. So for people that don't know, like we were formerly Reported. So I started in a guild called Rebel Alliance. It was Star Wars themed in 2019. Wasn't my choice, but hey, we were on Blue Squad. There was Phoenix Squad. There was Rogue Squad. It was a mega guild. There was like 160 players. That's crazy. Like active players. Long story short, became a GM and ended up making Reported. Downsized a lot of our player base. It was basically the team that I was a part of. Just went off on our own, and 6 years later, here we are. But we couldn't get the guild name on the server transfer. So rest in peace, Reported. It was fun. It was a fun guild name, but we went with Indigo, and we went with like a Pokemon theme, which was kind of fun.
It's so mysterious.
Indigo. I mean, it's like whatever. I mean, some people loved it, some people hated it. Like it wasn't.
It's
actually
grown on a lot of people.
Oh, yeah. It's made a little name for itself, and I mean, some of the names that we were going to go with was like Legends. I liked Legends, but it got voted out, and I didn't care. I was like, whatever. I could be a little.
I used to be in a guild called Legends.
This is like a democratic process that I can be on board with. And then yeah, we got to fucking Molten Core, and you joined us. That's right. You were on Blastoise with me. Blastoise was a lot of fun.
I also got the royal Reported anti-gank treatment. We went into Molten Core, and I'm the brand new Holy Paladin, and I want to make a name for myself in the Super Chad Guild that I got invited to. And we didn't have a miner for our group to mine any of the dark iron in Molten Core, so I went and leveled mining over the weekend, and I was getting ganked out there in hinterlands or something like that, and then summoned the troops, and then there was like 20 guildies out there.
We just camped this guy till I logged out. Well, for people listening, and a lot of our raiders that listen to this will know that I have a couple of things for us that we follow, and most of our raid leaders have prepped and taken over this mentality too. where it's like you never trickle into a raid. That's the dumbest thing anybody does. You
No.
group up at a flight path and you ride together and you kill anybody on the way. You do not stop. I mean, like we wipe anybody in our way. And it's like we have so many clips of us grouping up to go to like Anixia or something, and we just sapper everybody, kill 40 something people because who does that? Every raid I see, they always trickle in. They don't like go together, and some do. Obviously, there's some guilds that do it, but a lot don't. And I've never been like that. And number two, I've always been upon the notion that like you're a part of a team, your team should show up for you. So like if you're having a problem in the open world, you should have a bunch of boys ready to log on and go fuck somebody up.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
I've always been like that. Like I said, I've had the benefit of being like the GM, so I get people always like don't mind helping me. But I've also promoted the fact that even if you don't know somebody very well, somebody new, we will show up for you, you know? And I've always been like that. And it actually helps a lot of things long term. Like it really, really helps. But back on track here. So we've had the launch hype. We'll go over this quickly, but launch hype, it's fun. Leveling's great. Yada, yada, yada. But then we have mid-tier progression. Strategies are changing. There's a lot of energy. You know, like what causes frustration. And like this is where most people like are in it together. So mid-tier progression for me is like
We're all trauma bonding.
Yeah, like getting through raids, like each phase, and like you're close calling it, you're pushing, and there's a rule to like fight against and I wouldn't call it burnout, but what leads to burnout, but also attrition for your team is like above all else, killing bosses makes people happy. Don't wipe on a boss too much. You need to level the there's a fine balance. Now there's certain teams of like, let's say like 10 players, 20 players that you can push really hard, that can like they have the patience for it, right? You can like prog on a boss for like an hour or more and not be a big deal. But there's other raids, for instance, like we were in Blastoise, where I knew for a fact that if like I forced us to like wipe on a boss a bunch to get better and stronger, you know, it wouldn't have worked. It would have frustrated people. And it's better just to like in and out, get in, get out.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. Like, especially when it comes to stuff like that, like intentional wipes or strat, you know, testing and perfecting strats, you really need to have a team that understands the group vision and everyone is in it for the same reasons. Like, you can't be half in or half out. Like these whole, you know, guilds that say, you know, yeah, we're semi-hardcore. Like that's not really a thing. Like either you're going to play hardcore or you're going to play casual. You can play casually at a very high level, but like hardcore means like you're going to be, you know, wiping if something is suboptimal or if someone goes down. And you lose DPS from someone dying. Like, but everyone needs to buy into that team vision, and each individual team needs to understand who they are and how they do things. And the raid leader needs to be true to that vision. And if they want to change things, make that understood before the raid starts. Don't be making like, oh, hey, we're 3 bosses in, and I want to do some prog. I want to try out some new strats on this. Like, maybe discuss that with your team before you get in there. That way everyone has expectations for what they're signing up for.
I think the biggest point is the beforehand topic. So like I have a couple rules that I follow for everything. And these rules have fucked over my friends before, my close buddies. I always pre-plan everything. And when I say pre-plan, obviously you should pre-plan stuff. But what I mean is like what you're going to do. Like I say we're going to do X, Y, and Z before raid, a day before raid or whatever. And it's like, so the people can like buy into it and get on board before you're in there. Like I always say, make all your loot decisions outside before raid. Don't ever make a loot decision mid raid. It can cause problems. We've seen it happen in our raid. We made a loot decision mid raid and it caused problems fairly recently. Remember? Like all this stuff had to happen. It wasn't a big problem, but it was a
still a
problem.
problem.
And it was like unexpected. But anyways, those things happen. Those are very normal. Don't be surprised by them. But like me, when I do loot or something, I always decide before raid how I'm going to handle it, and I usually post the rules where it's like, this is what we're doing, and I never backtrack those rules. So it's like if a giant trinket is on the table and I didn't write any rules about it, like let's say Nef's tier, and people soft res it, and then it drops, and then like a person rolls and somebody else rolls, and 90% of the raid wants somebody to win it because they're like a longtime raider versus a guy who's been here for 2 weeks who's kind of under geared. And like there is so much internal comms about like, oh my God, if this person wins it, I'm going to freak out. And to me, I'm like, I didn't really specify that this couldn't be rolled on by somebody new. So he can roll, I think this is I know it's like against the grain, but like, and I tell people like for the long-term health, this is the best decision. You always do what you're going to say you're going to do. Now, if beforehand I was like, oh, by the way, you're new, you can't really roll on this, most people are cool with that because I let them know beforehand, but that's the same thing for like boss kills. I think there was one time in Nax where I was like, if we fucking ass pull on 4 horsemen, I'm wiping us.
Mm-hmm.
And God damn it, like somebody did ass pull. And I was like, wipe it up. God, wipe it up. Like,
Yeah.
You have to just follow through with what you say you were going to do. It helps long term. It prevents raiders from quitting. It creates a realm of respect for the leader because the leader actually does what he says he's going to do. And he doesn't like sound like he's making it up as he goes.
No, yeah. I mean, yeah, you really have to, and I can understand it from the point of the raiders who have been there for months and months and years. It stinks when someone brand new comes in and wins the role on something that, gosh, you've been really just waiting a long time to get that item. But you kind of have to think big picture, because you need to keep bringing in new blood, otherwise. That opportunity to even get that piece of loot might not even exist, 2-3 weeks down the line.
Yeah.
You have to bring in new people to keep the roster fresh.
And I've always been a little, I wouldn't say bothered by it, but it's like people who get upset that a particular item hasn't dropped yet. And it's been like 8 weeks, 9 weeks, 12 weeks. And I'm always like, bro, I mean, I've been here too. I'm not after that item, but I'm here every week. We're here with you.
That's just how it goes. RNG sucks.
Recognize that, yes, you're after this item. It's never dropped, but you got another like 20 something people in here with you. They're here every week. And some of them don't need anything and they're still here. And that's something to be said. It's like, recognize the team you're a part of that is showing up week to week to help you get this item. So be a little more cheerful. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the other thing about loot too. It's like it's also a guild resource. No one person in this raid can go and knock down a boss all on their own. So since it was a group effort to get that item in the first place, sometimes you have to be a little bit smart about who it goes to. But yeah, if you're going to soft res, hard res thing, it's just another thing to do before the raid even starts, so people understand, because we do that on our Nax runs now that Nax is on farm and it's not current content, there's still BIS items on there. So if and when that does drop, we'll hard res that item for the people that still need it for our competitive teams. And we'll make sure that's published and announced so that everyone signing up for that raid fully knows going into it why they can't soft res that item, because it's spoken for. And no one's had really a problem with that, because if they need that item too, we're like, okay, yeah, we'll put you on the list. Just let us know. If you want that, just tell us.
Yeah, the list seems kind of long sometimes. And people reach out to me a lot about like items, but we have a list. It is what it is. And there's not much we can do because we don't control RNG. We just have no control over that. And yeah, we'll keep farming it. It is what it is. Mm-hmm. But, speaking of farming, so we've got the first kill in raid. Everybody's at a high, like the first
Yeah, wahoo!
Sunken Temple clear. We killed Ragnaros on HM3. That was a big accomplishment. We're farming the raid. Everyone has different motivations for raid farm. Like some of them are more competitive teams. Like people stay pretty hyped in the game because they're chasing a parse, chasing a speed kill. So we can like clear the instance every week. We get to clear the instance. It's just a week to improve. And we have our more casual teams that we also run a casual team that is we're just there to blast. We're not particularly after a parse, although people still look at their numbers. But we're there just to kind of have fun, but also be efficient. Efficiency is big.
Yeah, we want to get in there, kill everything, and play the game so that we can go right back to not playing the game as fast as possible. You know,
but that kind of leads to like what here in the outline says a quiet decline. It's like you kind of, and we really see it. I mean, our competitive teams don't really have this problem because these people's minds work differently. We always show up for some reason, even when we hate it. Like at some point, I like legitimately hated AQ and Nax in the competitive teams.
Same.
Like, I hated being there, but I was still there because I'm not going to be the guy that doesn't show up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, but for the more casual teams, and this goes across a lot of the stuff, you just notice people start kind of not showing up. You're doing more work to ping people and like, hey, you gonna make it tonight? Hey, you gonna make it tonight? And I'm always looking at the signups and like seeing like 3 healers when I know there should be 4, et cetera, et cetera.
And that doesn't inspire confidence, because that kind of takes a hit to morale, especially if you're on that third team,
bro.
That's your main.
A little creative insight to like straight up manipulate in a good way. I mean, I was being honest here. There's some people that I reach out to and ask them to sign up just to put numbers on the board, and I know they won't show up. Like, I will be like, "Hey, I need you to sign up as a healer," because if a bunch of DPS see a bunch of healers, they'll just sign up because they know we got plenty of. They just see more people. It's like, you're more likely to show up if.
Now we're gonna have to put this episode into the chamber until Sod wraps.
It's not happening inside. I haven't done this in a while, but I have done it before. Because like
Articuno is just a big old op, it's a psyop.
It's just a testing ground. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
there actually aren't any healers. We just killed the bosses that fast.
Yeah, and then like the attitude of some of the raiders, and I don't know. We've talked about this before, where it's like you can see we've had people join us, and then like a couple weeks later they're not here anymore, or they just don't. They're still in guild. They just don't get on, And the retrospective is like, people asking us to split Articuno into 2 teams because it was like 30 something players. I just knew it couldn't really happen. In reality, I had optimism where I was like, maybe we could do this, but it just required so much actual things to happen and line up for it to happen that it ended up never happening for a good reason, because it would have made things slower. Not faster, slower. Faster is always better.
Yeah, the people wanting that, not a week later, they're, don't play the game anymore. So I'm glad we didn't do that.
Yeah, and the quiet decline it's different. If you're proactive and because there's a lot of different teams that are declining and people are burning out and quitting, but a team like ours, we're able to scoop up players and like actually continue on pretty well because there's a lot of people that need a home. And if you're just proactive, you'd be surprised how many people you can find. But some of the questions I have here is like, and this one's kind of weird for Sod. It's like, in your opinion, like which phase is most dangerous for the health of a team? And Sod was strange because, and this is a whole nother topic. Our editor can note this for another episode in the future. Sod had 10-man phase, they had 20-man phase, and how much that like fucked over players. Like, I mean, I'm the kind of person who's like, yeah, bring on 20, bring on 40, because I'm prepared, but not everybody's like me. Not everybody, like we had a lot of guys that were just 10-man and just totally like couldn't handle a 20 because that's their core friend group and they don't want to play with anybody else. And it just totally screwed them. So Sod specifically, which phase is most dangerous? I don't know. Weird. Phase 3 was super dangerous.
Yeah.
For its own reasons. Phase 2 was a super high. Then transitioning at the beginning of phase 3 was dangerous. At the end of phase 3, it was very dangerous because it lasted too long. And then also, BWL and AQ are very dangerous phases. Molten Core, phase 5 or whatever it was, I don't know. Super popular phase. Everybody wants to do Molten Core. Tons of players online. It's the most hyped phase, honestly, in reality. Extremely active. It's really easy to catch up. Total BIST out players are not much stronger than under BIST players, because it's tier 1. But BWL, it's tougher phase, harder raid. Not impossible. It's not actually that tough, but it is tough for some people. And then AQ, people just hate AQ. It's just some people it's just a shitty raid.
It's a slog.
Yeah. And then Nax is always hype as fuck.
Sorry.
Yeah, Nax is hype as fuck. We can talk about how AQ is more of a slog. We got through it.
Mm-hmm. And it's so interesting to really kind of look back at every one of the phase because I can like kind of pinpoint the pain point for each phase. It's like Molten Core, it was having to get all of the gear, all of the FR, because you were just gate capped from getting to HM3 and the maximum amount of loot opportunities until you got your 220 FR or whatever the number was. And then BWL. A lot of the burnout came from a lot of people had fun with it, but all the different difficulties were challenging, for a regular guild. Some of them, Black was very, very difficult for more casual guilds. And then it was difficult for other reasons too, from like the competitive scene. BWL was very much an RNG raid dungeon. So a lot of the people that performed at the highest level were unable to get the parses and the kill times that they wanted just because of RNG and stuff that just shouldn't exist within a competitive environment. And then AQ is just a long raid to get through. There's a lot of ground to cover. But I mean, honestly, like AQ was relatively easy compared to how it is in Classic. AQ went a lot smoother than I was expecting it to. I was very much feeling like I was done with the game going into AQ. And I spoke about this too. And I talked with Jupes and I talked with you and I'm like, man, I need to take a couple weeks of a break. But, between getting prepared and not wanting to let my friends down and stuff like that, I ended up being in there right when week 1. And sometimes something as simple as just getting a really coveted, sought after item will renew your, refill your jet, refill your tanks and, kind of stave off the burnout that you were feeling. I got the Twilight, Karaji battle tank, the super rare one, week 1, and I rolled 100 on it against someone that won a 99, and it was just one of those let's go moments. And and I'd never care about mounts either, but getting something cool like that, and then like quite literally being on celebrity status, just sitting on that mount in Stormwind, and people being like, "Holy shit, that's so cool!" Literally whispering me all the time. Something as simple like that is enough to like really kind of renew you sometimes when you're feeling burnt out. So if you want to know the answer for feeling burnt out, just keep playing the game. It'll go away. Just keep playing.
Just get through it. Just log in. I mean, even now,
ignore it.
I'll like aimlessly like log in, and like I said, this is a whole nother topic for discussion. Our editor can like write this down, but like, WoW kind of like taints other games. Like I'll try to play another game, and it's like, man, this is boring. I'll play for 10 minutes and just like exit out and like stare blankly at a screen, and then log into WoW and not do anything but stand in Stormwind.
For sure, because nothing has like that community feel that WoW does. Because like even if you're just not really doing much in the game, but you log onto your character, you feel hooked into that world, and you got your friends in Discord, and we're all just bullshitting, and maybe something will pop off, like like maybe something fun will happen, and you don't want to feel like you're gonna miss out on it.
Well, that's like the other night. We're all kind of online. You just want to do a ZG? Yeah, sure, why not? And I ended up getting the Tiger Mount, so that worked out great.
Yeah,
I was like, I can finally quit.
At least you're not like me, who I'm logging onto my character, just for something random. I forget why. And then like I look in my bags, and I'm like, oh, I won the mount off of Calderon, and I didn't even notice. It's
Didn't
just sitting
notice.
in my bag.
And
And
I
I'm
handed
like,
it to
oh,
you.
cool.
Congrats, Holy. I gave it to you.
You opened trade and put it in. It
No, I
didn't like
just alluded it to you. Yeah.
yeah, it just went straight in my bags. I didn't even know I won. I
Yeah.
won. I won the first one of those too, and then I just gave it away to someone else because I didn't
Yeah.
want it. That was like 2 months ago though.
But that's something we also kind of noted on was like for a lot of our players, like the guilt phase. It's like people get really burnt out, they get tired of the
Yeah.
game, but like I can still message them and ask them for help and they'll still show up. Which is nice. Which is really nice. I can name drop some people. I won't name them, but they know who they are. It's like I can ask for help and they will show up, you know.
We got some real ones, that's for sure.
But so kind of we've been here for about 40 minutes. I want to kind of like breeze through some of the psychology of like the obligation and kind of fighting the burnout. So we kind of noted on like logging in like when it's not fun. It's we're really just we're here because of the people. You know, the game is kind of like there's not much to do. You've already done everything. You're really just waiting for a raid day or seeing what's going on. And especially when the game kind of dies down, even then, like, because we're on a PvP realm, open world PvP becomes much less exciting because the traffic is just not there to open world PvP. And I'm not even going to say go to a battleground because, like, it's different. And, you know, we get into a big performance loop at this time in the phase where it's like we're just here to perform, push numbers, which is a fine balance. It's like, yeah, performing's great. We have a push week scheduled and stuff. But, we also have our big raid. And what's the whole purpose of that one still going? Because we could totally skip a week and it probably wouldn't affect much, right? We won't skip a week, but we could, And then, is raid night still fun? Or is it just, are we here just doing a work shift, I think it's both. I felt like
it's still very fun.
Yeah, I feel like in some of our phases, the raids we were in felt like work, but we were also in another raid that didn't feel like work. It was just like a blast fun type raid. So I kind of experienced both. And unfortunately, we're the kind of like crazy people that log in for like 9 raids a week sometimes. So
yeah, I would say that back in AQ and next, that was definitely the case for me, where I had the less competitive group that felt like fun, and then our very competitive group definitely felt like work. And there was definitely times that I was not having fun and I only showed up for my friends. But now it's like 50-50. Like sometimes I'm having more fun in the competitive group than I am the other one. I feel like we finally got like our perfect team, like our perfect set of personalities, and everyone is like, we're 6th in the world, and we are performing at such a high level. And man, we are focused up on bosses and we execute, but on trash, man, we are just cutting each other up, having a good time, cutting jokes, like not being serious at all. And like, I don't know about you, but I've been having so much fun. Like, some of the new guys that we brought in this phase, like, and the interactions between them have just been, God, priceless. It's been pure comedy, man. So many good memes and things in all the inside jokes. We haven't had that until this past phase.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think both raids have been fun. Some people still don't realize like how much I use our main raid for a more serious tone. Although I'm having fun because I'm very close with these people. Like we do raid with our buddies. We're not the type of team that has, just rotated people in and out for numbers, purely numbers. We actually have very close relationships with all these players. We know everybody by name. We hang out all the time. And then on the flip side, we've had our other raid, which is also a really big stress reliever for me, where it's like I push it in the direction that the team wants to go for the most part. But also I've been very clear with the team that this is like something that helps me as a leader kind of relax. Because I do enjoy playing this game, actually. Although I say I don't. I do it for the community, but for some reason, the raids are a lot of fun. But, from my perspective, and what I've seen over time, like what really helps fight burnout. It is from the top down, 100%. Like, there are going to be players that just get burnt out because they get burnt out. But if you're a part of a team that is very well organized and plans ahead and shows like the roadmap for the future, it will keep your players around long term. It is very clear that like if you plan ahead and you show like progress, show that you're working towards larger goals and communicate those goals, that players will be around longer, which is a good thing. So, and you know, I want to like take steps to like normalize things, make sure we can take a break when we need to, although we don't really take many breaks. I think we do, but we don't. I think we just have a good system, you know, where it's like it's very organized, so it doesn't feel rushed. It doesn't feel like hectic. Like we have a very tight knit schedule, so we don't really need to step back too often or take a break. Some people say that like taking like a break from raid helps, but you know, that really only helps if it's a part of a very close knit friend group. So we've never been the ones to take breaks, but I do think it helps. And there's been a lot of teams that I've seen that just quit on a high note. You know, they just like accomplished what they want to accomplish, and they're just like, GG, we're done. That's never been really our case because our aim is long term. But it wasn't. I've seen teams in Nomer just like they cleared like sod content up until Molten Core and just quit. That's all they wanted to do.
Yeah, I think the biggest psychological piece to it is that it's really comes down to your real life. Finding opportunities in your real life to go out and pursue real life goals and take care of the things you need to take care of in your real life and have those real life, real world connections with friends and family. If you get to a place where, on a week to week basis, like the only fulfillment and progression that you're feeling in your personal life is through WoW, then that's really dangerous. For me, it's like I try to find time to go outside and do something, physical, outdoors in the sunshine. Like I go golf, I try to go golf or hit some balls once every other week or so, or, take my kids to the park or do something like that. You can't let your dopamine and your reward, all your internal reward mechanisms can't be derived from WoW. You have to have fulfillment in your real life too.
Oh, 100%. I mean, that's another reason that we've built such a strong community here is like we have people posting pictures of newborns. Like one of our buddies just had a baby. I had my kids.
Dad's a dad.
Yeah, we are 100% a dad guild. And then like people are getting married. We have a wedding to go to of some of our raiders. And it's been a nice ride, And if you can focus on your long-term goals, and focus on building a community that outlasts an expansion, it can be great, And that's one thing that we've built here is a team that is not about an expansion. It's about a team that will move on to other things. And at some point, I don't know, maybe we'll just not play WoW altogether and go to something else. But you'll have like 40 to 50 people that'll go with you, which will be kind of cool. We can kind of do whatever we want. And it's not that I've, as like a leader, I've never really done it for me per se. I just feel like maybe you can relate to this. It's like somebody has to fucking steer the ship. Somebody has to like plan it. Who is going to actually plan it? I've never really trusted anybody else to plan it. Like it's not that I don't trust people now, but like for real, like what are we doing in 2 years? What does that look like? Does it just disappear?
He only lets me have the reins for like 4 or 5 days at a time. And it goes bad every single time. So,
there was when I was gone for like a week, like shit did hit the fan. And I was like, whoa, like some shit went down. I was like gone for a week and like people are freaking out. Calm down.
Was that back in like BWL?
No, that
you referred to?
It was during the beginning of Scarlet Enclave. Remember I was gone for a few days?
Yeah.
Just a few days. And like people couldn't handle it. Some people couldn't handle it.
Yeah, it was wild.
And some hard decisions were made it was easy for me to make those
Oh,
decisions.
okay, yeah. All right. No, man, I had already forgotten all about that.
Yeah, it is wild. And if those people are listening to this podcast, I have no ill will towards you, nothing. It's just like this is a team and it needs to be efficient. And I don't, I don't do it emotionally. This has no emotional attachment in a good way. I'm not like I'm a sociopath. It's just like we have to just make decisions. We have to move forward. We have to be quick. Like my whole decision making process revolves around like 60 people, or however many, and some other people's decision making process revolves around them. That was the difference. The decision was around them, and my decisions are around everybody. So, what's best for everybody? Not doing that right now, right? It's a good decision for you, but not for the other 40 people that are part of that team, So, that's
for
a
sure.
story for another
You
time.
got to keep a. Oh yeah, definitely. Drama episode would be fun, but
Yeah, we won't name names, but
probably
there's plenty of it. A lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
But again,
think-
no, go ahead.
What's nice is we naturally kind of flowed into the next topic here, and pretty much covered it.
Yeah, but again, everyone, thank you for listening. It's been a lot of fun banging these episodes out, and we have, like I said, a pretty aggressive roadmap. And thank you to our current listeners and all the feedback we've gotten so far. Holy, as always, thank you for being the co-host, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Yeah, see you guys.